Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual today, let's go over the market, see what happened and what we can expect for the final 2 days of the week, being of course the Thursday and the Friday. So as usual, if you guys enjoy the video, if you find it useful, helpful, informative, whatever, don't forget to hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, the bell icon. Let's just get this started. So Tesla, pretty flat day, pretty boring day in all honesty too. Ending the day just down about 0.6%, which puts us at $695.02. And yesterday we closed at like essentially $699 roughly. So yeah, pretty boring day. I'm not gonna lie, not a whole lot to update you guys. To be completely honest, I mean it's essentially similar to what I said yesterday, where we're still kind of in this middle ground where it feels very 50-50, let's just say that, right? 50% chance it just rallies up to the top of this channel, at least most likely, right? Maybe like 720, 730, something like that. 50% chance it just the 700 just denies it too hard and just plummets from here. But let's go over more technicals and see, if we can determine maybe which one it's leaning towards a little more favorably. So first, let's just start off with the basics on the daily. Let's take a look at the major indicators that we care about. You can see absolute perfection on the rejection today on the 21 EMA, right? Which is obviously not ideal. Pretty much still sitting on the white line of the Bollinger Band, though of course looking a little bit weaker there. Moving over to the 10-day moving average, pretty much a straight rejection there. However, we're still above the 5-day moving average. So that's pretty much the only thing still holding it up right now, right? Giving us a little bit of a chance. The RSI is still looking pretty okay above the median. There's things that are saying that, oh, there's rejection and we're going to drop from here. There's things that are like, no, but wait, there's actually a little bit of, hope at the end of this, and light or whatever at the end of the tunnel, right? So this is why I'm personally not actually taking any trades. I didn't trade today at all. I made 0 trades today, mainly because I just don't like the setup. It's also getting very tight. So if you put out the Bollinger Band one more time, you can see, on the 15-minute, for instance, right, even the 30-minute, it's starting to get tighter, but you can see it's really starting to get tight. So I'm expecting a pretty explosive, or not like explosive, but like, a pretty substantial move, I guess. Pretty soon, honestly, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, but I definitely expect this kind of, sideways action to get resolved relatively soon. And mainly because at the moment, the risk reward, like I said before, isn't that ideal. I'm personally sitting on the sidelines. I'm letting this kind of price action play out. I'm letting it see where it goes. And kind of just going from there in all honesty, because again, don't forget, guys, again, personally, what I think, my personal opinion, not financial advice, do your own research, due diligence, make your own, decisions, all that stuff. But even if it does break up to the upside, which I still think it can, absolutely. I still think that's definitely a possibility, like about a 50% chance. Like, it's not going to go that much higher, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're playing for 5% upside potential, maybe. But the downside risk is substantially higher, because I strongly believe once we lose this area that we are currently in and start falling back down again, I strongly believe that we probably won't see this price that we are currently at, honestly, for like months, right? So I personally just don't think the risk is just worth it, honestly. It could be completely wrong. Maybe we never see this price because we go all the way up to the moon. Possible, of course. Nothing is, if the market was that obvious and free, then, obviously I think we'd all be billionaires, right? But you want to try to figure out how many things are pointing to what as much as possible. And ultimately, this still seems to me like a bear pennant, potentially a bear flag if we go up to 800s, which I still don't think we will, but it's possible. But nonetheless, I believe we're in a bear trend, and I'm personally not willing to touch this until this plays out, and I can really see an actual true movement essentially play out, right? So at the moment, you can see it's also getting tighter and tighter as we're kind of zigzagging within this little time frame over here, which makes me believe we're independent on the flag. So, as we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, this means that, once we get around this area here, so like literally this month, ultimately, I think this month, this whole pennant will play out. But ultimately, this week, most likely, is this little tightness right here will play out. And I think this can already give us a decent potential, like, first move look, if you will, to give us an idea as to, like, where the rest of this month will lead and kind of confirm whether or not we're actually going to be breaking to the downside ultimately or to the upside ultimately, right? So I definitely think that's going to be an important... it's going to be important to see this resolve, I guess is what I'm saying. This little tightness that's happening right here on the 15-minute chart. Roughly 5-minute chart even, right? So those are the things I'm currently waiting for, and those are the things I'm just kind of being patient on. As usual, we also want to take a look at the, things like the VIX and whatnot. The VIX has been dropping, right, as the market has been kind of, rallying. The VIX has been getting some serious rejection, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if the market does get a little bit of a rally potentially here, maybe a little bit higher. I mean, the QQQ is getting rejected beautifully at the red line so far, so We'll see what happens with that. I mean, if QQQ can break above this, like, in the next couple of days, then this might just be a sharp sell-off to the downside. SPY is getting rejected beautifully at this 385 level, so we'll see what happens with that as well. So the market just feels like it's just sitting in limbo. It really just feels like we're in kind of a limbo moment almost. And there's going to be a big move coming up like pretty damn soon. And I'm just not willing to play that just yet, because I definitely think that if the big move happens to be the move to the downside, you're going to be back holding whatever you buy at this price. Not financial advice, do your own research, do your own due diligence, whatever, to make your own decisions. Just my opinion. But I definitely think you'll be back holding this if the move does end up being to the downside for months, literally months. So that's why, again, I'm willing to just kind of be patient. The volume here you can see pretty low, 22 million. I did forget to mention that the deliveries for Tesla came out on Saturday. They were more or less in line, maybe slightly lower than expected, but I mean pretty much in line, give or take. Nothing to write home about for good news or bad news, in my opinion, right? Given the fact that Shanghai was down, the Gigafactory Shanghai was of course locked down because China COVID for like pretty much a month, pretty much straight. The fact that Tesla was still able to deliver as much as they did, and the fact that June was still ultimately, apparently according to Tesla, their highest production month ever, which is amazing, is great news, right? But ultimately, the reason I'm bullish on Tesla as the company, don't get me wrong, I'm substantial, like I'm ridiculously bullish on Tesla as a company, Elon, etc., etc. I'm like extremely bullish. But you have to remember the company itself and the stock price and the stock movements, especially in the short to maybe even medium term, is not always aligned, right? Just because you're bullish on the company doesn't mean you have to necessarily be bullish on the stock for now. And the reason that is because I personally think the current macroeconomics, interest rates, the war in Russia, Ukraine, of course, oil prices, potentially like a food shortage, just all of these factors combined together. The debt is just rising. Apparently people are like borrowing against their homes to like buy stock and stuff. I don't know. It's looking a little bit scary. Let's just say that. But the point is that I personally believe that the overall macro is outweighing essentially whatever Tesla is currently doing fundamentally as a company, which is why I personally don't think that the stock is going to be trading. That's what people were asking. They're like, "Oh, I'm surprised you didn't mention the delivery number and stuff like that." It's because I generally. Number one, I don't think it will be anything to write home about Q2, and it clearly wasn't. But more importantly is the fact that I just don't believe that current fundamentals that Tesla has, especially with like how things are going to be, even for Tesla for now, a little bit slow as as Berlin ramp up, as Austin start ramping up and everything. Tesla's also in kind of like a little bit of a limbo mode, if you will, as a company as well, because it's just going to take some time, a few months, maybe a couple quarters to really get the snowball rolling with these new factories and everything. But once that snowball gets rolling, that's when we can really start that's when things will get truly exciting, in my opinion, which I think will be near the end of the year, and especially 23. But that combined with, of course, the macroeconomics, I just personally believe that it doesn't almost matter what the company is doing fundamentally. Good news is still fairly bad news, and bad news is extra bad news. That's the way I'm currently looking at it. I believe the whole market currently at the moment is just more bearish than bullish. And yeah, and the fundamental or the technicals are essentially suggesting that as well. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys. Again, I'm not a huge fan of playing this right now. I'm much more of a fan of just being happy with my cash. I'd rather miss on a move up here than risk potentially back holding and then just losing money. You know what I mean? So it's fine, because ultimately, even if we do make a move up here, I still believe that this will just bounces back down, and then we're still going to move all the way down. Like, I personally believe that the move down will happen regardless of whether or not we jump up to like 720 or 730 first or not. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys, at the moment. Let me know what you think down below. The MACD, you can see it's starting to get a little bit more bearish, but not too bad. It's still looking pretty okay, which is why there's still things that are suggesting rather that there's potential for a move up to that 720 area. The only thing that's not good is the fact that we did get so far double rejected at this kind of 700 level. So the bears are fighting back at 700 and the bulls are fighting back at like 680. And what I said yesterday essentially happened today. I said how yesterday I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially get a move back down to like 685 to 680. We got that move to 682 pretty much twice, bounce, and then ran up, got rejected at 700 again. And right now it's just essentially a battle of the bulls versus the bears. If the bulls can beat the bears and get above 700 and hold, most importantly, maintain above 700, fantastic. If the bears can break pretty much under 680 and hold that, Fantastic for the bears. That's currently the battle, guys. That's what I'll be looking. Those are the by far the biggest key levels I would be paying attention to, 700 and 680. And whichever one breaks, I'm sure you know what that's going to mean for the short term of the stock and the movement. But again, on the 5-minute chart, actually, let's do the 15-minute chart. I like the 15-minute chart as well. It's pretty good. You can see here that as we went up to the same level here, almost the same level, slightly lower, the R side did make an ultimate lower low or lower high. To be fair, the stock price did make a technical lower high, but this feels a little bit more substantial. So we'll see how this plays out. It's still looking fairly neutral, so I still think this can go either way in terms of up or down. But again, it's to determine, and if you wanted maybe make a quick swing or whatever, 700, holding above 700. So pretty much what you can do is if you want to, let's say it goes above 700, what you can do is go on like the 5-minute, for instance, as an example, and then wait for like a 5-minute or a 15-minute closure above 700, and then ideally wait for a candle to come back down. So let's say it runs up to like 707, I don't know, as an example, 707, it's a nice fat green candle. What you can do instead of FOMOing on this is, first of all, wait for a close on the 5-minute or 15-minute, right, above the 700 key level. But ideally, if you want to be extra safe about it, what you can do is wait for a red candle to come back to 700. Look for the confirmation, look for the bounce, make sure 700 holds. And the second you see a bounce coming off 700, again, not financial advice, do your own decisions, make your own decisions, whatever. But if you see 700 turn into support after that, that's when it gets a bit more of a confirmation that, the move to the upside to the 720, 730 might actually happen. But nonetheless, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think down below and what you're expecting to see happen. But I think Tesla will have a pretty big move coming up really soon. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.